This is Pepe the Frog. He was born on the internet. And this is Arizona iced tea. Not really made in Arizona. And that's former Toronto Mayor Rob Ford. I don't really know what he does anymore. Oh, and that's Ansley Guthrie. She'll be hosting Sports Mag along with me today. Won't you, Ansley?
I don't even know what to say. None of that had anything to do with our show. But on that note, let's get to the best part of Friday, Sports Mag, coming up next with updates on Colorado's football, cross country, and volleyball teams, along with many others. Stay tuned.
Hi, welcome to Sports Mag. I'm Joe Paris.
And I'm Ansley Guthrie. Welcome to the only TV show that encompasses the week that was for CU Sports.
Special shout out to Slash Squatch and the entire Fox College Sports crew. Thanks for the hard work getting this show on the air. We've got a fully loaded half hour of Buffs action for you, so park it and pay attention, because there will be a quiz at the end.
All right, Joe, dial back a few. You're like at an 11, and I need you at an 8.
All right, an 8 it is. I promise you, though, by the end, I will hit a 10. A perfect 10.
All right, let's kick off the show with some football highlights.
Highlights?
Is something funny, Joe?
Yeah, you said highlights. More like lowlights.
Oh, that's such a good one.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Joe. Anyways, the Buffs have traveled down to Tempe to take on the Sun Devils, and it was a rough outing for Colorado.
It really was. The Buffs fell behind early against the Arizona State Sun Devils last Saturday, but didn't give up as the game continued. Philip Lindsay tried to get the Buffs going with a 20-yard scamper to put Colorado on the board, but Lindsay would be one of the lone bright spots of the night.
Ackle O. Witherspoon had a great pick late in the second quarter to keep the damage at a 3-score contest heading into halftime. But that would be the defensive highlight of the night. Colorado would give up back-to-back scores to open the second half, but Cepha would connect on a 35-yard pass with Devin Ross to ease some of the pain. Lindsay would go for a 6 again in the fourth quarter during meaningless football, but would end the night as the top Buffs performer as the Colorado falls 48-23.
Saturday, it will be the Buffs, the Wildcats. 7 p.m., Fox Sports 1, Brady Quinn. Watch it! Watch it! Or, if you're in town, head on over to Folsom Field for homecoming. Sounds like it's going to be a great time there. The Buffs are looking for their first Pac-12 win of the year and hope to turn the tide on homecoming weekend. Colorado will have to control Anu Solomon and Nick Wilson and get the offense going if they want to have a shot at this. And, well, don't take my word for it. I have no clue what I'm talking about. But Alex Doyle, our football analyst, is here to bail me out. Alex, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, Joe.
So, Alex, do you think the Buffs actually have a chance to beat Arizona this Saturday?
Well, Joe, if the Buffs want to win, they will have to stop the Arizona run. And based on the last couple weeks' efforts during the run, that'll be difficult. However, the biggest running back for the Wildcats is Brandon Dawkins, and he's 6'3", 195 pounds. That's relatively small. Of the 8 running backs who carried the ball for the Wildcats last week, 6 of them were below 6 feet tall. Despite their smaller stature, Arizona's run offense is very fast, and last week against Oregon State, they accumulated 368 yards and 58 carries. Last week, the Buffs let the Sun Devils run for 231 yards and 40 carries against Oregon. Against Oregon, they let up 361 yards and 60 carries 2 weeks ago. Also, the Buffs' offensive line will need to protect Cepho a little bit better than they did last week. They let Cepho get sacked 8 times. Before last week's game, Cepho had been sacked a total of 9 times in 5 games. But if the Buffs do not improve in these areas, I don't think they have a chance to win on Saturday.
Well, going off of that, who do you think the best player has been for the Buffaloes this season?
I'm going to say Nelson Spruce. He's played very well in his 6 games so far. This season, Spruce has 440 receiving yards and 37 receptions. That almost matches his 12-game total from 3 years ago. Heading into this season, Spruce either held or shared 35 records. He has now beaten one of those records, total career receptions. In the UMass game, Spruce recorded his 216th career catch, and he's not terrible at throwing the ball either. He's had 2 pass attempts and 1 completed catch to Cepho last weekend against Arizona State. Some people may disagree with me, but numbers don't lie, and that is why Spruce has been the best player on the team this year.
What are the implications if the Buffs do win the game? Or what if they lose?
Well, if the Buffs win, it makes playing in a bowl game a very real possibility. They will have a 4-3 record, and the games against Oregon State and Washington State could be more winnable. If they lose, however, those 2 games against Washington State and Oregon State will be more questionable win-wise. Also, Coach Mack's seat gets a little bit hotter with every loss, and his future may be in jeopardy. I hope that they will keep Mack on staff because he has built the program up a bit and gotten the team more wins every year. But as with every sport, wins are the most important things for coaches to produce.
Good stuff, Doyle. Thanks for the insight, and thanks for following me back on Twitter. It means a lot.
No problem, Joe.
The Buffs are certainly not happy about their performance against Arizona State last weekend, especially those in a leadership role. A players-only meeting was called by sophomore running back Philip Lindsay on Sunday, and the team members were described as angry after the loss. On Tuesday, head coach Mike McIntyre mentioned a call he received from another coaching buddy who told him not to worry if his players were a little upset.
When your leaders get really angry and ticked off, it's a good thing because they now know that they got to go execute and do it. Until it really hurts them bad, really bad, then they kind of just take it. So he called me and said, I think it's a good thing.
I don't know about you, but sometimes I wish I had the ability to read people's minds. But I guess the next best thing would be to go down to Meg Fleming, where she talked to the Buffalo students about what they thought about the homecoming and Colorado sporting events. So Meg, take it away.
I'm Meg Fleming with CU Sports Mag, and we're going to talk to some fellow Buffs about the homecoming weekend. So what is the craziest thing that you guys have seen at a Colorado game?
I like when people are like painted in all black and are just like going insane. It's like really fun.
Honestly, Ralphie running, because it's just like, he's a buffalo, and there's people like running with him.
Right.
That's just insane.
There was these kids dressed as babies my freshman year. No, I'm not even joking, like diapers and everything.
Probably when we beat CSU in overtime. Yeah, that was the first like Rocky Mountain Showdown I've been to, so it was pretty crazy when we beat them. Yeah.
Do you guys know why they call it the homecoming weekend or the homecoming game?
No, they don't.
Shoot, this is homecoming weekend this weekend.
CU just had a road game, and like they're coming back to play at home,
yeah,
so it's like
that's a good point. Actually,
homecoming. Yeah, they're coming back. So.
I have no idea.
I didn't know either, but apparently
what is it?
It's like the coming back of alumni.
Okay.
Have you guys ever credited a sporting event?
Yeah, but not because of the sports.
I was really, really sad when the Broncos lost the Super Bowl. That just hurt.
Well, I've cried over so many Ohio State games, though, I'm not going to lie. Like, it's got to be around 5.
Hopefully we won't be crying this weekend. That's all the time we have here today. I'm Meg Fleming with CU Sports Mag. Back to you guys.
Former Buffs quarterback Darian Hagan never really left the university after getting his degree in 1996. He has worked in various capacities at the university, but he is currently the Director of Player Development. This weekend, though, he will serve as Grand Marshal for the homecoming parade. As Grand Marshal, Hagan will participate in the Pearl Street Stampede and will quote wave the presidential wave and help others remember the wonderful times they had at CU.
Put away your laptop, your iPad, your phone, close down Google, and close down Bing if you're an employee of Microsoft. It's time for this week's trivia question. How about this? In all of their past 6 games, the football team has picked off an opposing quarterback at least once. That's right, 6 picks in 6 games. So, this week the question is, when was the last time CU picked off a pass in 6 consecutive games? Stick around. We'll have the answer for you at the end of the show.
Coming up after the break, one of our own reporters has gone up against the Buffs football team for the next Athletes versus Reporters. Talk about scary.
I know I wouldn't want to go up against them. We'll find out who did when we get back, so don't change the channel.
Here's my nephew Scruff about to run into trouble.
I want to hold it. What'll I do?
If you get my new comic activity book, More Adventures with Scruff, you'll find out what you can do about bullies and guns. And you'll see lots of games.
Cool.
For your free copy of my new comic activity book, just write Scruff McGruff, Chicago, Illinois, 60652, and help take a bite out of crime.
I want it. I want it. You know trouble can start when the clock hits 3.
When there's no place after school for kids to be.
Nothing to do but hanging on city streets.
When mom and dad are working to make ends meet. Now it's time to beat the street.
With after-school programs, city kids aren't left alone and vulnerable. They keep on learning between 3 and 6, but these programs need your support. Join with the Urban League to keep them going. Call now, because it's
time to beat the street.
I'm
Guten Tag!
Johannes, Franz!
I bring you arts-enriched Raisenblums, fortified with increased test scores and creative problem-solving skills.
It's good!
And good for you.
Bobby? Susie?
Don't worry, that's just the power of the arts!
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
No, what'd she say?
She said whatever.
No, she says that all the time.
What's that?
Hello? I'm on the phone. Mom, I'm on the phone! Hello? I'm on the phone.
Who's this? It's me. I'm on the phone. Mom.
Oh, you're on the phone. All right. Sorry. Anyway.
Who are you talking to? Kelly?
Mom.
All right.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you.
Remember when I told you one of us went up against the football team? Well, that was our very own Aaron Sullivan, so let's take a look.
With another special edition of Athletes vs. Reporter. I'm here at the CU football practice fields with Colin Johnson, Wyatt Smith, and Diego Gonzalez, seeing if they can teach a mildly uncoordinated reporter how to hold kick and long snap. All right, I'm here with Wyatt Smith, the long snapper. Wyatt, tell us the 3 most important things to accomplish a successful long snap.
Well, first, you hold the ball differently than if you were just throwing the football. You're going to use 2 hands, so that's different. You want to get a wide base, and then you just want to not screw up generally.
All right, Colin, and what are the 3 most important things that a holder has to do?
I would say, so we talk about with our special teams coach, he says that the most important thing is the spot, make the spot good for the kicker so he knows where he's going to kick the ball. Second thing is the tilt of the ball. I want to tilt it a little bit towards me, and that helps him out with the trajectory of the ball. And the third thing is the laces, make sure the laces are out of the way of the kicker. So those would be the 3 most important things for holding.
All right, I've been given some pretty good tips. Before we get going, any good advice, you guys?
Just keep your eye on the ball and get it down.
Try your hardest not to screw up. That's what I do.
Let's give it a go. Should I even bother to look back at him?
You want to.
Okay.
That's better.
Hey!
Nice.
Good hold.
You got to check with the kicker, make sure he's ready.
All right, guys, so scale 1 to 10, how'd I do?
Snapping, I'll give you a 7.
Holding, I'll give you a 6.
Give you a 7 in holding.
All right.
Well, that was pretty scary. I definitely wouldn't be able to do that. So that's why I sit here and report on sports instead. So thanks, Aaron.
I'm impressed too. Thanks, Aaron. The women's volleyball team is getting back into action, and they're hoping to rebound from their tough losses to top-ranked California schools last weekend by hosting 2 more California schools this weekend. Tonight at 8 p.m., the team takes on California. On Sunday at 2 p.m., they take on the number 6 ranked Stanford Cardinal. California comes into the weekend with a 6-win, 11-loss record and are winless in the Pac-12. Stanford is ranked 10-4 and has a 4-2 record in the Pac-12.
The cross-country team is headed to Louisville, Kentucky this weekend for the pre-nationals meet. The team looks very strong and ready to win, but winning won't be their main goal for this weekend's race. The main goal will be to learn the course because the national meet will be in the same place in a little over a month. The men's squad looks to three-peat as national champions, while the women's team is looking to finish in the top 3.
Volleyball and cross-country both had interesting outings this week. Christine Lampert is here to break it down for this week's Buff Banner. Christine?
Hey Buff fans, I'm Christine Lambert and this is Buff Banter. Here's what's happening with CU Cross Country and Volleyball. Cross Country is preparing for the NCAA Pre-National Invitational that will be held in Louisville, Kentucky this weekend. Both the men's and the women's team came out in first at the Rocky Mountain National Shootout held here in Boulder back on October 3rd. Looking at the players, senior Pierce Murphy had consistently been one of the best on the team, taking 4th at the Rocky Mountain Shootout in 2013, 2nd in 2014, and 1st in 2015. CU Women's Cross Country also has a few standouts to watch. Senior Maddie Alm took 3rd overall at the CSU Invite this season and 2nd here in Boulder at the beginning of this month. Junior Erin Clark has been in a leadership role on the team since her sophomore year and finished 1st at the Rocky Mountain Shootout, just 40 seconds ahead of teammate Alm. Although the Buffs have already been strong this season, Coach Mark Wetmore says they will not even be at their best for another month. Now, switching over to volleyball, the Buffs suffered 2 tough losses against USC and UCLA last weekend. In order to pick it back up, head coach Liz Kritza says the team will have to learn from the mistakes made here in Boulder and correct them for next week. There are a couple of players to watch this weekend when the Buffs host California and Stanford. Gabby Simpson and Alexis Austin are both strong players that consistently put multiple kills on the board for every game. Senior Nicole Edelman was a co-captain of the volleyball team last year and started in 24 of the 29 matches. Edelman had no kills this game but still helped the team and dished out 34 assists and 8 digs on offense. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have today for Buff Banter. I'm Christine Lambert. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Christine. Coming up after the break, cross country is in action. Did the Buffs run faster than the speed of light?
Joe, no, that's not possible.
Says you. You wouldn't be able to see it anyway, so how would you know? Come on! Also, there's hockey after the break, so stay tuned.
Can you pass the salt, Dad?
Salt is to pepper as gregarious is to...
Oh, no, not more SAT questions.
In ancient Rome, salt was a form of currency. True or false?
False.
True.
Son, can you locate sodium?
Or chloride?
There are tons of ways to help with your kids' learning. Find the really good ones on connectforkids.org.
You have 3.5 grams of salt and a 5-gram slug. What's the rate of shrivel?
In America, you are not required to offer food to the hungry or shelter to the homeless. There is no ordinance forcing you to visit the lonely. In fact, nowhere in the Constitution does it say you have to provide anything for anybody. Thank you for all you've given. Imagine what more could do.
This house was almost saved from a fire that was almost put out by neighbors who almost volunteered. As generous a nation as we are, sometimes instead of giving, we almost give. But almost giving is the same as not giving at all.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad
One more
today.
time. Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys.
6 Colorado tennis players will head to Las Vegas this week for the United States Tennis Association and Intercollegiate Tennis Association Mountain Regional Championships hosted by UNLV. CU coach Nicole Keenely feels good about how the team has played in their first 2 tournaments this semester and is excited to have so many players competing. She's emphasized to her squad that they should focus on what they can control both on and off the court in order to advance.
It was a rough weekend for the University of Colorado soccer team, who tied Washington and lost to Washington State last Friday and Sunday. The Buffaloes drew the Huskies and were hoping for an upset win over the Cougars, who are ranked 21st in the country. However, the momentum shifted in Washington State's favor when a headed goal by Colorado was disallowed. The rule states that once the clock hits 45 minutes, the play is ruled dead, keeping CU from equalizing. From there, the Cougars got rolling, scoring 2 more goals in the second half to defeat the Buffaloes 3-0. Colorado will now face a tough road trip to Stanford, UCLA, and USC.
The first CU men's basketball game is just under a month away, but Coach Tad Boyle and center Josh Scott kicked off the season yesterday at the annual Pac-12 Conference Men's Basketball Media Day. The Buffs went 16-18 in the 2015-2014 season, closing out Boyle's first losing record as the team's head coach. Despite that, though, Coach Boyle and his team are ready to bring in the season with full force and reestablish themselves as strong competitors through their game. He said at a press conference, "I'm not sure I have a lot to say. I'm just ready to play." The Buffs are projected to finish 7th in the standings this year, but the team aspires to show everyone they are not a team to be overlooked. Their first game is scheduled for Friday, November 13th against the Iowa State Cyclones.
And the women's basketball team will tip off its new season at home against the Loyola Marymount Lions on November 14th. So mark your calendar. CU enters the campaign ranked 9th in the Pac-12 preseason poll. The division is loaded with tough competition as 5 teams made the tournament last season and 2 made the Sweet 16. The Buffs will look to get their momentum rolling against a team that limped to a 7-24 record last year.
Colorado men's hockey took on the Illinois State Redbirds this week. It was a good game. Alex Temby starts the game off by taking it coast to coast. Nothing but a beautiful finish upstairs there. From that point, it was all Buffs. John Nitchin sauces one into the slot for a Trevor Landgraf finish on the backhand. Beautiful Landgraf. Bauer to Bergkemper. That was the 3rd tally. Beautiful. And Alex Temby gets a goal off of a Matthew Kostopoulos deflection to give the Buffs a 4-1 win in front of a hot Saturday night crowd. And 12 hours later, the women's hockey team took the ice against Lindenwood Bellevue. Marissa Danos got the scoring started for the Buffs. Off a saucy rebound, it was her first goal of the year. The Lynx responded promptly, though, with a blast from the blue line to tie the game at 1. But the Buffs weren't done. Danos, a perfect forecheck, turns into a turnover and another goal for number 2. 2 for 2 on the afternoon. The Buffs D, though, would break down in the 3rd. It would ultimately drop to Lindenwood. Final score, Lynx 4, Buffaloes 2. Stay tuned, because we picked 2 great athletes for this week's Athlete of the Week.
And you don't want to miss Rapid Fire, right? Okay, well...
when I figure this out and putting this on, we will be right back with Rapid Fire.
Yeah, how dope was that party last night, man? Yeah, no. Wait, I can't really. You're breaking up.
Well, it said VO instead of...
No, I know.
Yeah, no, and then he shoved me. And I was like, that's not cool. And so I just rocked him, and it was tight.
It was a total dime piece, man. Took her back to my place, had a few drinks. You know what I mean.
And after all of that, she told me she had a kid. And I'm not trying to be any part of that right there. You know what I mean? It was a crazy.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Good nutrition can lead to great things. Find out how a healthy lifestyle can help your child succeed.
And it is now time for this week's Sports Mag Athletes of the Week. This week we have from tennis, Nuria Ormeño Ruiz, and from the volleyball team, it's Gabby Simpson. Ormeño Ruiz played very well for the Buffs at the Mountain Regional Tournament earlier this week. She won both her doubles and her singles matches at the tournament. Gabby Simpson was the star for the volleyball squad when they took on USC. She accounted for 21 of the team's 67 kills. Good job, ladies.
My friend Andrew is here for a boring segment about sports and is... What? Really? Are you sure? All right. This just in. Apparently, this next segment is going to be the pinnacle of sports TV. So here we go.
Hi, Buff fans. I'm Andrew Hovner, and welcome to another lightning-fast, jam-packed, swagger-down-pat edition of Rapid Fire. We got a big weekend of CU sports ahead, so let's get started. First on our list, the tennis team, who's spending the weekend competing in the USA ITA Mountain Regional Championships. On Wednesday, the Buffaloes performed well in singles and doubles, and will hope to continue their run of form into this weekend. Up next, the cross-country team. Top-ranked, funky fresh, back-to-back looking for the three-peat, heading into pre-nationals this Saturday in Louisville, Kentucky. We caught up with Coach Mark Wetmore, who said this is going to be one of the toughest tests for his #1 team. And then we head over to football, kicking off against Arizona at 7:05, looking to halt that losing streak that they're on. Players held the team-only meeting over the weekend, so only time will tell if that pays off. To end off the weekend, volleyball, taking on 7th-ranked Stanford. Alexis Austin and Gabby Simpson will have to have a big night if they want to dethrone the Cardinal. That's all the time we have here for Rapid Fire, but before I go, I got to shout out Slash Squatch and the rest of the FSN crew. We appreciate you guys. I'm Andrew Hovner. This has been Rapid Fire, and back to you guys at the desk.
On the off chance you're not a CU trivia whiz and couldn't figure out the answer to our trivia question, fear not, we have the answer for you. In case you forgot, we asked, when was the last time CU picked off a pass in 6 consecutive games? And the drum roll, the answer is 2004. The football team had a pick in their last 6 games that season. Let's hope our Buffs can pick off a new Solomon on Saturday and keep this impressive streak going.
It's that part of the show again. If you've been waiting on the edge of your seat for the best social media segment in all of sports, wait no longer. It's time for this week's Tweet of the Week. CU Buffs cornerback Ken Crawley tweeted a commentary on a tragic situation with an accompanying visual aid. When Netflix and chill don't go as planned, sad face. Indeed, Ken. Sad face indeed.
Well, Ansley, looks like we're finally out of time here.
That we are, Joe. It's the end of the line. It's time for us to go and get out of here.
Make sure to tune into Radio 1190 after the show to catch a special edition of Friday Night Live with former CU head coach Gary Barnett, along with Fox Sports analyst and former NFL quarterback Brady Quinn.
I will most certainly be listening. Thanks for joining us today, and now we must go. I'm Ansley Guthrie.
And I'm Joe Paris. Have a great evening, Boulder. Talk to you next week. Enjoy your weekend. Go out, have a nice root beer. Big game again tomorrow. Buffs take on the Wildcats. Ansley, it's going to be an exciting matchup. Colorado looking for their... Goodbye.